Hi, this is the Joneses with Springfield Brewing Company on Red Mountain Pass in Ooyy, Colorado. Welcome to the GCN Show!
Welcome to the GCN Show.
This week, phrases that no cyclist wants to hear. Now, you can either avoid using them or deploy them with devastating effect.
We've also got something called Pimp My Bike Path, plus more Scandinavian sports science and all of our regulars as well.
Plus, Dan, the first ever case of e-doping.
Controversial. This week in the world of cycling, we learnt that bike packing is so 2019. The real adventurers out there have turned their back on sleeping in hedges and gone to caravanning.
Yes. Yes, more caravanning with Mark Beaumont's coming soon to GCN.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, and that's Global Caravanning Network, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Not a cycling
You can
network.
subscribe to that by clicking on the button now.
That's right. Now, we also learned this week that even the best of the best can still struggle with bunny hopping barriers. This is Lars van der Haar. You got to say escaping quite lightly from that one, but not quite as stylish as Aniek van Alphen.
Well, that was rather smooth, actually, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Although, here is Chris Ackrig showing us all how it's done in a clip from his latest video.
Yeah, although it's got to be said, we don't actually know if that was a proper cyclo-cross course, do we?
No. Although we might find out later on, because we're going to feature more of Chris's latest video.
True. Right now, though, we are talking about the worst things to say to a cyclist, because we are a sensitive bunch, aren't we?
Well, we are. That's not surprising, though, because most people that wear tight-fitting lycra are quite
True.
sensitive. But there's more to it than that, isn't it? The sport of cycling is so hard, it can leave you psychologically fragile. So much so that even the smallest of even unintended insults can leave your morale diving off a cliff.
Absolutely. Such as, Dan?
Well, for example, if you're on a climb
Yeah.
and you're really suffering, but you think you can do this, and then somebody comes up to you and says, if you think this bit's hard, you want to see how steep it gets round that corner.
Oh, mate, that's the worst, isn't it? You're up, you're on the climb, you're okay, you got this, and then suddenly someone drops that line with a smile on their face, and boom, it's over. You stop like a bollard in the middle of the road, don't you?
That basically is the equivalent of when a race organiser decides to put the King of the Mountains line about 1 kilometre from the top of the mountain.
Yeah, what is with that?
I don't know.
It's not all about climbing though. There's a classic, isn't there? You're out for a really long ride, you're starting to feel it, and then someone comes past you in the bunch, smiling away, saying, well done, we're almost halfway around.
Yeah.
What? Why would you do that?
Yeah. When you didn't know where you were, but you thought you were on the homeward stretch. Some things you just don't really need to know, do you?
Exactly.
And then there are other comments which are far more subtle, but can do just as much, if not more damage to you psychologically, such as somebody coming up to you and saying, you're looking well.
Oh, that's just harsh. To a normal human, that might seem like quite a compliment, but no, to a cyclist, that basically means you're just not quite as lean as you perhaps would want to be.
They're saying you've put weight on.
Yeah, a bit like, oh, what type of rider are you? No, let me guess. Rouleur? Sprinter? No, I'm a climber. What are you trying to say?
Well, probably that you've got cankles.
Yeah, true. Don't say that either. But no, say instead of you're looking well, just you're looking fit. That'll do, won't it?
Yeah, that would sound a lot better.
And
wouldn't it?
your ankles look really slim and nice.
Well, they might not say that. But there are other comments that are just simply scary, aren't they? Like when you're about to embark on a tricky mountain descent and a rider comes up to you and says, you know what that noise is and rattling coming from your handlebars? And you're like, what?
Equally scary, that rider just in front of you there, they're a triathlete.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, nice to get a little bit of warning so you can give them a bit more space, but still scary. And frankly, it's also pretty scary that they can disguise themselves as actual cyclists by just putting socks on.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I know. Actually, this has reminded me of something that's even worse than that. About 2 years ago, I can't remember what the reason for this was now, but somebody came up to me and thought I was a triathlete.
What?
I was so insulted.
Well, yeah. Also, that's really weird because I'm not sure you can even swim with arms like that, but there we go.
I may have had my inflatable armbands on at the
There
time.
we go. No, triathletes, we joke, by the way. We know you're a
I don't
sensitive
think there are any
bunch as well.
triathletes still watching this show after the last few years. So.
No, fair enough, fair enough. Now, of course, it's not just about your body that you can be insulted as a cyclist. For many of us, our bikes are also sacrosanct, aren't they? You say what you like about my cankles, but just leave my bike out of it.
It can be worse insulting somebody's bike than their body, in fact,
absolutely,
can't it?
yeah.
A classic case is when somebody's invested in a brand new top-of-the-range bike, somebody comes up to them and says, love your new bike. I've just been reading actually on the internet, they're about to release a new version of that model. What? I've just invested in this brand new bike and it's just about to be superseded straight away.
Yeah, and I've heard as well they're reducing the price.
Yeah,
year as well.
Insult to injury.
Yeah, ooh, 12 speed, nice. 13's coming next year as well, you know. That's just the tip of the iceberg, isn't it? Brake rub. Oh, just a tiny bit of brake rub can cost you 20 watts at 30k an hour. And you're thinking, well, no, but also my brakes aren't rubbing. Are they? I mean, now you mention it, I am feeling a little bit sluggish today. Maybe my brakes are rubbing. Maybe they're on full.
But what generally happens is that upon closer inspection, neither of your brakes are rubbing, are they? So all that's been holding you back is your own body.
Yeah, although here, we've got to say, this is the limitation of disc brakes. No one really talks about this. Rim brakes, someone says your brakes are rubbing, you just flick the lever, the quick release, and boom, away you go. But discs, you got to stop, and then you got to spend about 4 hours at the side of the road trying to actually stop them rubbing.
Not easy, is it?
No,
need a roadside maintenance course for doing that. Some things that the general public say can also get to you a little bit, can't they? A bit like, you could have bought a good car for the price of that bike.
Oh, man. Yes, I could have done. In fact, I could have bought 3 of my Ford Focus Estates for the price of this, but I didn't want to, all right? 1 is enough. In fact, 1 is more than enough, many people might say. Another one, ooh, you should be paying road tax for that, shouldn't you?
Oh man, don't get me started on that. No, I'm not paying road tax because road tax has not existed for decades. You pay tax on your vehicle, so I pay tax on my car, but not on my environmentally friendly bicycle, okay?
Wow, I think we've touched a nerve there.
I hate that one.
Yeah, a little bit like when someone called you a mammal the other day.
They did.
A middle-aged man in lycra.
Not middle-aged.
No, you weren't even wearing lycra at the time.
I wasn't. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we should probably conclude this subject before I get myself too irate about it.
We should, yeah.
As ever, we would love your comments on this. Is there anything in particular that people say to you that really winds you up, that always touches a raw nerve? Let us know down below. It is now time for your weekly GCN Inspiration. Quick reminder, the prizes have changed. Now for third place, you will get a GCN Club casquette. For second place, you'll receive the latest GCN Club socks, plus 3 months free subscription to the club, which would normally cost you $15, €15 or £10 per month. But the winner each week in first place will get themselves some GCN fan kit, which for this week remains this version in pink.
If enough of you ask in the comments, by the way, Dan will wear this for the duration of the
No,
GCN
I
show
won't. All right, 100 people do.
Okay, right, there you go, challenge is on. Now, before we get started, last week's GCN Inspiration, we had this amazing photo of a section of pavé from right here in the UK, and we said we didn't know that existed. Anyway, we had a comment. Firstly, I thought it was from G. Halliwell. I thought to myself, well, that's amazing. Ginger Spice is watching. No, it's Gareth Halliwell. Anyway, he's pointed out that that was actually called Spencer Lane in Hebden Bridge in Yorkshire. And he basically said there's loads of cobble climbs up in that neck of the woods. And also Rob Patrick got involved as well on Twitter to point out as well that there's a sportif called the Ronde van Calderdale.
Maybe they should put a race on.
That's right. They actually invited us to come up and have a ride, but it does look quite hard, so we might send James instead.
I'm pretty busy until 2021, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anyway, we also move on to third place, receiving the cap this month, and it goes to Dermot in Cottesloe. Just about to set off on our Saturday morning spin after a wild night of weather in Perth.
That's pretty cool, man.
Gotta love a rainbow.
You do indeed, and that one was very clear where the pot of gold is, isn't it?
Yeah, just got to swim out to it.
That's right, triathletes will be loving that, mate.
Yeah.
There you go.
And in second?
Second, we've got this one from David from the Tavan.
I was about to say we picked ourselves some very easy names to pronounce this week.
The Tavan Bogged Massive in Mongolia's Altai Mountains. So there we go. That's absolutely bonkersly amazing, isn't it?
It does look fantastic, doesn't it? With a dozen like-minded rides on a bit of an adventure in the far west of Mongolia.
Did you have fermented horse milk? That's a genuine question for people that go to Mongolia. Yeah, apparently that's a delicacy. Fermented horse milk, so yeah.
Regardless of whether they did or not, he will be receiving the latest GCN Club socks and 3 months free subscription to the club. Meanwhile, the winner this week of the GCN fan kit is Amanda. Commuting home after a large dump of snow over the last weekend in September. Looks like we have 1 foot in fall and 1 foot in winter.
Wow.
I mean, when I chose this winner, it almost doesn't look real.
That looks like one of those funky Photoshop things where it's all black and white except for one thing in colour.
Please don't tell me it was Photoshopped. I'm pretty sure it is real. I'm easily fooled though.
We are indeed easily fooled, but yeah, I like that, man. That is absolutely cracking work.
It's a cracking photo, that one, it has to be said.
Makes me not scared of winter. Or not as scared of winter.
No, but it's been horrible here recently though, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, if you'd like to be in with a chance of winning one of these 3 prizes on next week's show, all you need to do is submit your photos, or videos, in fact. I had many good videos recently.
No.
On the uploader, not on GCN, obviously. No. So if you want to submit either of those, as ever, use the uploader, a link to which is in the description down below.
Yeah, except Dan, there is now another way to get involved in GCN Inspiration, as well as many more things besides.
This is a big announcement, Si.
It is actually, isn't it?
All right, you might have been noticing recently that I've not been featuring on quite as many GCN videos, and there's a very good reason for it. It is because I have been single-handedly developing a native app for both iOS and Android. Complicated stuff, Si, but in essence, it is a Firebase/MongoDB hybrid cloud backend, which is driven by a serverless architecture.
What? Where have those words come from?
They've always been in my head, Si. I've just been busy making this app. Basically, Si and I have not been much of a do with this, but we've had a team of developers who have been working on it in the background, and they are producing the GCN app.
Yes, that's right. So, for one thing, you will, as mentioned, be able to upload submissions for the GCN show, but you will also be able to share them directly with the GCN community. You'll be able to vote, for example, on whether someone's bike is rather nice or splendid. And you will, of course, be able to watch GCN videos there as well.
Yeah, we're really excited about this, but it is in the early stages at the moment.
Yes, in fact, it's still in beta on Android, isn't it?
It is, and we would love to know your thoughts on it. Like everything, actually, that we do on GCN, we would like to know the good things about it, but also the bad things about it as well. So if you're interested in seeing what it looks like at the moment, head over to your app store, and it should be available for most of you in most countries to download right now.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and we're going to start with some slightly controversial news from the world of e-racing.
Slightly. This was a press release put out by British Cycling last week, which revealed that they'd uncovered some technological fraud which had occurred on the run-up to the inaugural e-racing national championships earlier this year. And even more unfortunate was the fact that the rider involved, Cameron Jeffers, won the race. He was national champion.
That's right. The statement was a little vague as to exactly what that technological fraud constituted, but it has since turned out that Jeffers used some kind of Ant Plus bot to effectively cheat his way to 50,000 meters of elevation gain on Zwift in order to unlock a special Tron bike that he then used to qualify and in the final itself.
It was slightly ironic actually that he didn't even qualify to start with.
Well, yes,
he only got into the finals after 2 of the people that did qualify decided to pull out at the last moment. But anyway, as you can imagine, this caused quite the social media storm last week, and it was quite bad timing in some ways because just the week previous, the UCI and Zwift had announced the inaugural e-racing world championships will be taking place next year.
That's right. It's unfortunate time, but actually it's really good news, isn't it? Because catching people that are cheating is one of the things that people were concerned about with e-racing in the first place. So it kind of shows that what Zwift and the various federations are doing is working, and presumably they can just step it up from here.
Very true.
So yeah, anyway, on to some more positive news now.
If you will pardon the pun.
Indeed. It's traditional for us here at GCN in the few weeks post-World Championships to keep a beady eye out for our newly crowned world champions, is to see if they are brave enough to rock white shorts to match their new white jerseys as well. And elite mensman Mads Pedersen has revealed his first.
Revealed is what exactly?
Well, quite, yes. Anyway, you'll be glad to hear he's gone for black shorts! Yay! Well done, Mads, and also team sponsor Trek for going with a classic look.
You almost got that wrong then, didn't you?
Well,
I'll tell you what though, his bike's all white.
See what you did there, mate. I mean, technically it's not all white, it's got rainbow stripes on, but it does look nice. I like the fact that his chain has been treated to unicorn pea though.
Yeah, rainbow coloured chain.
That is
I mean,
cool.
that really is the icing on the cake, isn't it?
That is, fair play SRAM for that one, yeah. Also, I couldn't help but notice in the press photos that Trek supplied us with, there's these really cool ones taken in a rusty old petrol station. Is that a little dig that some of his competitors had actually run out of fuel during the Worlds, like Van der Poel and Trentin?
No, I don't think that was the intention, really.
No?
No. Anyway, last week it was good to see that Chris Froome took to Instagram to show us all that he's now back out on the road training after that horrific crash that he had on a time trial bike back in June. I tell you what, that's got to be a lot of rehab that he's done already to get out there by now.
Yeah. How many months is that? July, September. Whoa, 3.5 months. Crikey. Anyway, he has also said, actually, that he is lining up, or will be lining up, rather, for the Saitama Criterium in November. So you'd think, actually, he's done quite a bit of hard work already, wouldn't you?
Well known as one of the toughest races on the calendar.
Absolutely, yeah.
Moving on, last week you remember that we requested for you to send us pictures and videos of the worst bike paths you have ever seen. Thanks to all of you who have submitted those. We've had some purrs, haven't we?
Yeah, keep them coming.
Including this one from Michael in Germany.
Yeah. Now what is going on there? That's not a bike path, Dan. To my mind, that's a signpost in a field.
Well, apparently you are legally obliged to ride on that, whatever it actually is. It hasn't been all bad news in the world of cycling infrastructure though. Last week we saw this announcement from neighbouring Belgium.
That's right. This beauty is called Cycling Through the Trees, and it's basically an elevated bike path 30 feet up among the treetops.
I'll tell you what it is. It's Pimp My Bike Path, new segment on the GCN Show.
Yes, send us your terrible cycling infrastructure and also the cream of the crop for Pimp My Bike Path here next week. Now, I've also, thinking of cream of the crops, uncovered a gem of a piece of research that was printed in the Scandinavian Journal of Science in Sport.
Is this more of your Nordic skiing expertise?
No, not Nordic skiing this week. This is about sprinting in Australia.
Which you have no expertise at all.
None at all, no. But fortunately, an academic by the name of Paul Merkes, or Paul Merks, I'm not entirely sure which, tested the Caleb Ewan sprint position, my words, not his, against the standard sprinting position and found that there was no negative impact on power, cadence, or torque among the group of cyclists that he tested. Yeah, check it out. Basically, everyone always thought that, you know, he wouldn't be able to put out any power but was super aero, but no, that's not true at all. So from here on in, I'm going to be unleashing all 604 of my sprint watts in a ridiculously aero position.
You probably will be going faster for those 600 watts, won't you?
Yeah, until I hit a pothole, in which case
then you're going very slow.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we are going to finish cycling shorts this week on a rather sombre note for two reasons. Firstly, last week Giorgio Squinzi of Mappe, the owner of that company, passed away just last week. Now, if you're new to the sport of cycling, you probably have no idea what impact he had on the sport over the last couple of decades. But basically, in sponsoring that super team through the 90s and early 2000s, he shaped an entire generation of pro riders.
Yeah, it was the biggest and most ambitious team that cycling had ever seen. Probably still is to this day, in fact. But it wasn't just about the biggest riders and untold race victories and the coolest kit and bikes the world of cycling had ever seen, because Squinzi actually put considerable time, effort and resource into developing the next generation of riders as well.
And then another legend of cycling, albeit on the other side of the sport, Peter Schoon, passed away in his hometown of West Fargo in North Dakota last week. Now, he was best known for giving away thousands of bikes over the years from his home workshop and fixing countless of others free of charge. So a true cycling hero, and one that deserves a lot of recognition for everything he did for the sport. It's now time for hack/bodge of the week, and we shall begin with this one that came in from Brent in Ohio. Saddle preference taken to a new level. Great bike for rainy rides. Fuzzy is the new aero.
Well, yeah, hard to argue with that. Although, there's not fuzz where you'd necessarily expect it, like on the saddles, or indeed the battery.
No, you'd think they'd have fuzz on the saddles for extra comfort, wouldn't you? You
would, yeah. But you got to say hack, really, because someone's obviously put considerable time and effort, probably money, into creating that sort of bike-horse hybrid there.
I could put a lot of time and effort into everything, Si, and it'd probably still be a bodge. But
well, exactly.
I'll go with you on that one.
Yeah, I think that's a hack, yeah.
Okay.
Right, next up we've got this one sent in by Richard. He said the new Zwift steering function, he can't steer with a riser block, so he's basically gone out to his garage for a bit of backyard engineering, he said. In fact, he's so pleased he might patent it, which I think is quite ambitious, but nevertheless.
That's pretty cool, you can swivel on that.
A swivelable steering block. Well, yeah, fair play, Richard. I like that. Yeah. You probably need to tell us how it's done. Although then he might not be able to patent it because someone else will nick it.
No.
Wouldn't they?
Although he has got competition side from the next submission, which came in from Stephen in his conservatory.
Oh, yeah.
Who's also got the ability now to steer on Zwift, courtesy of this device. a 10p Iceland bag for life.
Hey, that's more up my street, mate. Not least because it catches all the drips.
I thought you'd have a weight choice one.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised that you recognised that was an Iceland carrier bag there, but there we go.
I saw the eye, and I couldn't. No, I could recognise it.
To be fair, mate, I don't have any plastic bags at all in my house anymore.
Do you not?
No, it's kind of annoying sometimes because they're actually quite useful for putting like smelly, wet cycling kit in when you're coming home from a ride. So, but no, I'm going to have to get a swivelable riser block now. So, Richard, when you get your pre-production versions, just send them our way and we'll have a little look. Right,
anyway,
there we go.
We had this one coming from Chris in Australia, where it is a legal requirement to have a bell on your bike. So he made this from a cheap bell and a spare out front mount that he had lying around at home. Cost was significantly cheaper than the commercial version, and that's rather neat.
It is quite neat, hidden under his Wahoo element there.
Yeah.
It's,
I'd say hack, but I have to say, it looks like quite the reach around to actually activate the bell.
It does actually, doesn't it? You need to know exactly where it is, otherwise you'd be like struggling there, wouldn't you? Next up, we got this one from Mary, sticking with the indoor training theme. She said she's just added indoor training to her regimen, but doesn't have an iPad stand yet, so her husband made her one using some strong tape zip ties and a Raffer box. Not just a cardboard box, Dan, but a Raffer one, an expensive box.
Blimey, does that make a difference? I mean, it's a quality box.
It does look like a quality box, yeah.
But it's taped on. It's got a bit bodge still, isn't it?
Absolute massive bodge.
Looks like it works, but bodge.
Yeah.
Then we got this from Jack. This is a rack that I made out of a pressure-treated deck board. It's screwed to the car from underneath. Always a big hit at the local rides.
Well, that's commitment, screwing a bike rack to your trunk there, I believe that one is. But I mean, it looks pretty neat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'd paint it if that was me.
Do you think he needs a sort of a registration plate sort of light mount out the back?
You're such a pedant, Dan, aren't you? I'm sure he'd be fine, but I definitely think that needs painting.
Anyway, should we say hack for that? I mean, he's hacked through his trunk to get that onto the car, hasn't he?
He has indeed,
It literally is a hack.
Great day hack.
If you would like to submit yours, use the upload just down below.
It's time now for the Caption Competition, that point in the show where you get the chance to win a much coveted GCN Camelback water bottle. All you got to do is have a very witty caption that you pop in the comment section down below that's tied to the photo that we're about to show you. To give you a hint, this is last week's photo and here is the winner. Yeah,
the winner being Medieval Knievel, who put caption, "We'd better be careful. I hear the UCI are clamping down on rafting." I thought that's very good, Medieval Knievel.
Yeah, it's pretty solid, isn't it? You know,
it is.
Rafting, drafting.
Send us your address using a message on Facebook. We'll get this bottle out to you. To be fair, all we need to do is write a witty caption each week for Caption Competition. And we fail every single week, don't we?
Yeah.
I think I failed this week, judging by rehearsals, which went down like tumbleweed.
Rehearsal.
This is Cyril Gauthier at the Crow race last week. Ready?
Yep.
Second time? You're gonna laugh this time. He sells seashells on the seesaw.
Yeah, it's still poor, isn't it?
It is still poor, yeah.
Yeah.
And every week, I hope that nobody comes up with anything better, and every week, most people do.
Yeah, and every week, I hope that they do come up with something better, and thankfully, they always do.
Yeah. All right, good luck. Next up, it's your opportunity to win yourself 3 months free subscription to Zwift. All you need to do to put yourself in with that opportunity is leave us a coaching related question or training related question down below with the hashtag AskGCNTraining.
It's like a double win, isn't it? Not only do you get your question answered, you also then get 3 months free subscription to Zwift. Amazing. Right, Edward Lunn is the lucky person this week. He said, "Hi chaps, I started using Zwift last winter because between work and kids there wasn't enough daylight to go out and ride. I really enjoyed it and felt stronger than ever in 2019. I've discovered some crits nearby held at a local brewery." Yes, sounds good. "How can I use Zwift to train for next spring's crit season?"
I'll tell you what, Edward, you are in luck because you are about to get your question answered by 2 criterium specialists right here.
Yeah.
I'm only joking, of course. I think between us, we probably completed about 3 crits where we didn't get lapped,
Wow.
didn't we?
I mean, we can't say that we're specialists, Dan, but that's probably because we were just so good at everything else, we couldn't specialise in it. Anyway, that doesn't mean that we don't know how to train for crit. The first thing, most important, is to recognise actually what a crit is. And although it's 1 hour flat out, it's not a constant effort. Generally, you'll find it's like 100 short, sharp efforts with minimal recovery in between.
bit like a non-dirty version of cyclo-cross from that point of view, isn't it?
Yeah, although don't try and hop the barriers. That will be tough in a crit race.
Yeah. No, but Si's right, and so from that point of view, although we would recommend spending a period of time trying to increase your FTP, which is what you can hold for a steady state for an hour, once you get a bit closer towards your criterium, near the brewery, we would recommend doing some micro intervals. That's really going to get you ready for those repeated efforts. Now they can take the form of 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off, 15 on, 15 off, or even 10 off, 20 off. But you can do those with about 5 or 6 minutes at a time and up to 3 or 4 per session. And you can do a couple of sessions per week like that.
You can. What I'd also suggest actually is through the winter, just have a bit of a stab at racing on Zwift as well. Because although it's different to racing at crit out on the road, the kind of hard work that you do in a short period of time, generally you'll go really deep and you'll put in a lot of concerted hard efforts over threshold as well. So
also worth noting that, the criterion specialists are generally very, very skilled, aren't they? Maybe another reason why we didn't do very well at them, but if you're not particularly good with your bike handling or not that comfortable being in close proximity to other riders, working on that is going to help you as much as anything.
Absolutely, yeah, that's very true indeed.
Right, if you want some advice on how to treat the brewery part afterwards, I'm your man for that.
Yeah, go on, Dan, what would the tactics be?
Well, always pace yourself. Or this do I do and go out early and try and hold on to the end. But your nutrition strategy is very important as well. You can sometimes shelter behind other people when you line up to the bar. That way you can sometimes get away without paying for it at the end of it. And lastly, don't do anything that I wouldn't do.
Well, no, I mean, like you say, you tend to go for an early break, don't you? Go out straight as hard as you can from the gun, and then use your amazing power of endurance to basically hold off all the way to the finish line, which is often a lot longer and further away than you might ordinarily have thought. But yeah, Dan will be off there in the distance somewhere. Pretty much, isn't it?
Hopefully.
Right, we have some amazing comments that you guys leave under our videos all week. And so, as ever, we're going to pick out some of our favourites.
Yeah, and as ever, we're going to leave the negative ones out.
Yeah!
Right, starting with this underneath alternative training methods with Hank and Opie. Nerd X Project, says, dude, riding with my own weight is already challenging enough. And it seems like a lot of people were in agreement, judging by the number of likes that comment got.
That's right. And then Jeremy's cracking video where he got to spend a day with Sven Nace, being taught how to get put into the barriers by the greatest of all time as well. I enjoyed that bit. Roy Johnson says, perfect, he still has it. Man, I got a little nostalgia emotion there. My 2 favourite cyclo-cross races of all time, playing on the stairs. Really miss rooting for these guys all winter.
That was great to see that video, wasn't it? How much passion Sven Nace has got for developing the next generation of cyclo-cross riders. Meanwhile, under Jeremy's Vancouver ride, Laughing Saint wrote, the drone pilot needs a raise, great job. I can't really afford it, can we? But he did do a great job.
Why don't we give him a pat on the back? Should we give him a pat on the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure he'd be satisfied with that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure he would be. It was a cracking video, that, wasn't it? I did enjoy watching that as well. Right, underneath Ollie's marginal gains video, Duty Paid Rock left this one. I don't quite understand it, Dan, but he said, wrapping your helmet in cling film doesn't work. I have 2 children to prove it. So anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, you do get excited. That was genius. That was genius.
Well, I got 46 likes, so yeah. Anyway, and then underneath the Hyperbike video, Steph has started a petition for me to grow my actual hair into a blonde mullet. And there's quite a few replies and 237 likes under that one, so...
right.
Wow.
Steph, if you put another comment with the petition below and it gets 1,000 likes, Si's going to agree to do that.
Oh.
No, he hasn't. I've just made that up.
To be fair, I would love to have hair like that. I felt like the Don.
Did you?
I genuinely did.
Didn't really look like it, but anyway. Moving on, coming up on the channel over the next 7 days. On Wednesday, we're going to show you running for cyclists, how and why you should be doing it. On Thursday, it's the aforementioned 10 worst bike lanes video. Thanks for all your submissions from that point of view. And on Friday, we've got another day in the life of a cyclo-cross legend. This time, it is Anne-Marie Burst.
That's right. On Saturday, we have got a factory tour around the Willia factory in northern Italy.
Willia?
What do you call it?
Villia.
Villia.
I think so. I don't really know. I don't know why I took you up on that.
We'll find out on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Dan and I don't know whether you remember, but we used to be mountain bike semi-professionals.
Pretty handy,
Yeah, back in 1999. Anyway, basically, we think that mountain bikes are now boring, and that is why gravel bikes exist, and we're going to prove it.
Can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
Monday, we'll have the GCN Racing News Show over on the GCN Racing channel. Tuesday, we're back in the set, but we've got a lot more racing for you coming on GCN Racing, including the final 4 Italian one-day races this week, culminating in Il Lombardia highlights on Saturday. And we've also got live coverage for those of you in North, Central and South America of Tre Valli Varese today, in fact.
How are you doing that? Both of them at the same time?
Suddenly realised this is coming out tomorrow. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it.
It's time now for Extreme Corner, and as we mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to have a little bit more from Chris Akrig's new video called Crossroads.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
That man's got some skills.
He has. Also fitness. Have you noticed how much he's sprinting? Makes me feel quite tired
I think
watching that.
That's cuts in the filming to allow him full recovery between each of those sprints.
So a bit like crit training. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, right. That is, unfortunately, the end of the GCN show.
It is, yes. If you have enjoyed it, please click on the thumbs up icon, which you'll find below this video. And in fact, if you haven't already subscribed to GCN, you can do so by clicking on the subscribe button. And next to that is a bell notification icon. If you click on that, it means you'll be notified every time we upload a new video.
Yeah, also, I just want to get our cankle as well. Just a reminder of the GCN Cycling Club. This is this month's sock. Yes, that you will have got through the post. And you get a new one each and every month when you subscribe.
In the meantime, if you would like to see another video from us here at GCN, you can find Cy and Ollie comparing a hyperbike to a superbike just down here.